Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing this extra huge jumbo amigurumi bunny as a last minute Easter project. I'm going to be using a Q size crochet hook and some Patton's Cobbles yarn. I found this on sale at Joann's a while ago and I picked up 5 skeins of it just because that's what they had. This is the teal color. So I'm going to be using 5 skeins of this Patton's Cobbles yarn. So you want to go ahead and get your chain going. You're going to chain 35. So here's how your chain should be looking. And then we're just going to be basically making a giant square. And I'm going to be stitching with half double crochets. So here are 35 chains. And I'm going to half double crochet in the second chain from our hook. And then just go ahead and half double crochet all the way down. This technique has been going around Pinterest for a little while to make much smaller little knit bunnies, but being that I don't know how to knit and I wanted to make a giant kind of stuffed animal bunny, I am adapting the technique that I've seen floating around Pinterest to a crochet technique. So basically this is going to be just one gigantic square of half double crochets, and we are going to stitch it together, and I'll show you that in just a few minutes. Stitch it together to form it into a bunny shape. It's super easy. If you can stitch a half double crochet, you can make this project. So here we are just going down the line, half double crochets in each stitch, so you should have a line of 33 half double crochets. Once you get that done, go ahead and chain 2 and turn, and you're just going to repeat this, and you're going to make 28 rows of half double crochets. So 28 rows is what we're looking for. So go ahead and work those 28 rows. Here we are working the second row, and just go ahead and continue on chaining 2 at the end of each one, and you should wind up with a big square like this. I'm going to use a pretty large tapestry needle just because this yarn is so thick, and I just cut a piece probably about 3 feet long of the same yarn that I used for the square. And you want to find the middle row of stitches, so count up from one side and up from the other and make sure that you have the center row. We're going to basically stitch a running stitch using this piece of scrap yarn in our tapestry needle, and we're going to just come across that row, because what this is going to do is it's going to gather together to form the head and ear shape. So just go ahead and stitch along a basic running stitch using your tapestry needle, and just go horizontally across that center line of stitches. And once you get across to the other side, you just want to come up and form a triangle. So stitching up to the center, still using a running stitch, we're just stitching along to the top middle. This isn't going to be super clear, it's just a matter of gathering it together. So if it's, you know, a stitch or 2 off from exact center, it's not the end of the world. You don't have to pull out all your stitches and start over, but you do want to get as close as you can to the top center. And once we come back down to our starting point, we want to go ahead and just pull that scrap yarn tight. So what that's going to do once we have our triangle of stitches here is gather all of that area together, and it's going to kind of form the shape that we want. So just go ahead and pull that working yarn that's attached to your tapestry needle as tight as you can, and you want to also grab the yarn that's knotted from where you started your running stitch and pull that as tight as you can, and it'll gather together and you'll have kind of a big bunch of stitches that is going to push one way or the other. I just kind of pushed it out of the way the other way, and you just want to pull both strands as tight as you can. And then I went ahead and knotted them off at this point so that they weren't in the way. And then we're just going to stuff what is the head of the bunny with I had some polyfill stuffing. You could use scrap yarn if you have enough of it. You could use quilt batting. There's all different things that you can use for stuffing amigurumi. I happen to have some basic polyfill stuffing, so that's what I used for this project, but it's really up to you. So there we have the head and ear shape, and now we just have to sew up the back body part. I went ahead and stitched together though kind of the backs of the ears and the head and really pulled that tight to make sure that there wasn't any gaps or any areas where that polyfill stuffing could come out. So you want to just kind of reinforce those stitches and stitch the backs of the ears together to make sure they hold their shape. And if you're unsure about anything, leaving a gap or any part of it kind of coming apart, definitely just throw a few more stitches in there and it's not going to hurt anything. So here coming down the back, you're just going to take your tapestry needle using that same piece of scrap yarn, and you're just going to whip stitch the two sides together. So it should form kind of a cylindrical shape, and you're just whip stitching right down the back there. So once we've done this, we're going to gather the bottom end together. I use the same process to gather and stitch this together as I did on my puff stitch slouchy hat video. So I sped it up here a little bit just so that this video wasn't half an hour long. But really it's just a matter of gathering the pieces together and stitching them closed, and then grabbing another piece and bringing it into the center and stitching that closed. If you need any further help with this kind of gathering together technique, please watch that video. Toward the end, I show in a lot more detail how to gather that together. I gathered one side together and stitched it closed, and then went ahead and stuffed the body with a bunch more polyfill stuffing. I had just a standard size bag, and I probably used about a third of it for this project. So if you have some extra laying around from another project, you should have enough. So I went ahead and stuffed it on this other side before I gathered and stitched all of that closed. And then once you've stitched this bottom end closed, you can go ahead and weave in your ends and finish off that yarn. And if you have any other kind of scraps laying around, you can go ahead and weave in all your ends at this stage. And then I just used a large clover pom-pom maker to make a white pom-pom, which I just tied onto the back here. And I also sewed on a couple of buttons and sewed on some baby pink colored yarn for the nose on the front. And that is it. This project is super easy and very quick. If you can crochet a square, then you can definitely make this bunny. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.